All right. Hey guys. So I have Melissa here today. So she has agreed to talk with us about her fitness journey so far with us at Amy Everett Fitness. So, um, would you want to just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and why you just started at AEF?
Okay. I'm 55 years old, so I'm the old one. I'm married. I live in
Okay.
Lexington.
First of all, you are not the old one.
Well, I'm one of the older ones. How about that? Okay. So, I have one son. He'll be a junior at UK next year, so he does not live with me. I work in Georgetown, very close to where Amy's gym is. I've been there for about 20 years. So, I decided I needed to do something. So we started working from home in March. So I'm not sure what happened, but I probably gained about 20 pounds from like March through like September. And I knew I needed to do something or I was growing out of all of my clothes, even though I really didn't need to wear them because I was working from home. So I knew I needed to do something, and I tried to start running again, but I don't really like running and I didn't really enjoy it. And I really wasn't 100% sure it was really good on my joints. And I guess you cannot out exercise your diet. So I knew I needed help in both areas. Mainly at that point, I wanted help with like nutrition. So that's why I started at the gym. And the reason I found out about the gym was from Christy, who works at for the parent company that I work for. So I saw her picture and I was like, oh, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I go to Amy Everett Gym. So I came to your gym and here I am.
Awesome. So you said that you were a runner before. I remember you saying that you ran whenever you came in for your consultation. So talk a little bit about your previous like nutrition and diet attempts in the past with running or nutrition.
I always feel like I'm either on a diet or watching my weight, or I need to be on a diet and watching my weight. One of the two. I'm either there or I should be there. So like I can lose weight, but I think I do it like the unhealthy way. So my previous attempts, like I would run probably like 3 miles a day. I'd get up and run in the morning and I would eat very little food during the day. And you can probably sustain that for a little while and I would lose the weight, but then maintaining the weight loss, you can't starve forever. So I just felt like it would always come back. And I'm like 5'6", so I can carry weight pretty well, but still, it's not healthy. I didn't think it was healthy, and I really just didn't enjoy running, so that was out for whatever reason. And actually, when the gyms opened back up, so they shut down for a little while, then they opened back up. So I joined a gym, but I didn't really know what to do, what machines to use, which machines to target certain areas. And I just I probably only went there a couple of times and then I dropped the membership because I thought, this is not for me. And then I went to a personal trainer here in Lexington, and that just didn't work out for me either because I don't know, I needed like more consistency, more, I want to say accountability. I needed that. So, and I think it's like exactly what I have now at Amy's gym.
It's interesting. Christy and I talked about this too. And I'm not saying that there aren't some women that do like to run, but it's really always funny to me the amount of women that run that don't like to run, but they just think that they're supposed to run, but so they do. And I'll ask them when they come in because they'll tell me that they've been running or they did run or they've run in the past. And I always say, well, do you like to run? And so many of them say, no, I don't like to run. And I'm like, well, we're not going to run anymore then. If you don't like to run, we're not going to run.
Anymore. I mean, every now and then I'll run with my dog if it's like starting to rain or something, but I don't like ever go out and go, you know what, I'm going to go run for 3 miles.
Yeah.
Like I did like a half marathon, like probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And I was like, that's off my list and I will never do that again.
Yeah. Because most women actually don't like to run. And it's
Yeah.
not, and you're right, it's not great on your joints. Most women weren't built to run. Now, it might be okay to run sprints or something like that. I mean, for, but yeah, most women, I'm like, why are you running if you hate to run? Stop. So what goals have you achieved since you've been with us since November? So you've been with us since November.
About 6 months, and I've lost 30 pounds in that time. And not that I think I'm strong at all, but I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life. Like I've never had any muscle definition. And to be honest, like when I first came to the gym, like I came really to lose weight. So in my mind, like the nutrition and the working out, I would lose weight. And I really didn't have like, oh, I want to build a little bit of muscle. That was not my goal. But now I think that it's kind of flipped. Like I still want to do the nutrition and to lose the weight. But I think for me, I can do that. I kind of have that under control. But like the strength training is like more what I don't want to say enjoy now, but I really like it now. And that's kind of like an added surprise because that was not my intention when I first started. Now I'm like, now I have to go. I have to go like 5 times a week.
I have to go lift weights.
Go lift.
Yeah, you have gotten really strong. You can, I think you started out with like 3-pound dumbbells and doing body weight squats. And now you goblet squat 35 pounds.
Yes.
And you chest press 25 pounds.
5.
You can do push-ups. I mean, you're incredibly strong.
I'm getting there on the push-up. That's on my goal.
Yeah, you're doing great. So, and you definitely can see muscle definition. And I think that's important too. I know you did talk about your age a little bit because a lot of women think that when they get to your age that they cannot have muscle definition anymore. But I took a picture of you yesterday and you can see your little tricep there and everything. So, I mean, and it is important for you to have muscle definition. I mean, as far as like weight loss and like sculpting, I mean, you have to be able to gain muscle and you have to be able to lift heavy to do that. And a lot of women don't lift heavy enough. They don't understand that. But I think once, like you said, once you start to do it, you're like, oh, I kind of like actually do like doing that. I think you find it kind of empowering.
And I think like as you get older, to me, it's just as important to do strength training for your bones, because I think that, I think my grandmother had like, is it osteoporosis where their bones were brittle? And I think this maybe it won't prevent it, but it could help.
It can definitely help with that. The more muscle mass you have, the more bone density you have. So, and I tell women that all the time. I mean, can't just be just about aesthetics. It has to be about longevity. And that's why strength training is so important because, you're building muscle mass, which increases bone density, which improves your joints and, improves your overall health, so that you can live a longer life. So you're absolutely correct. So which I think I know some of these, but what were your frustrations when you started to see progress and how did you manage your expectations?
Like I started out with the three pounds and the 5 pounds, and I think I used them like months. I think I went, probably for 3 months, I stayed with the 5 pounds. And sometimes it was a little frustrating to go, I want to lift the heavier weights, but I guess I just felt like I would work myself up to it. And I mean, I just think that, I just try to think of it as like a journey. I don't try to go, okay, I'm going to get to this point and I'm done. I just try to think, this is kind of like a lifestyle change and I'm just going to stay the course and continue what I'm doing. And the heavier weights will come and the weight will come off. I mean, it's sometimes you want it right now. I'm like, okay, I want to be at the exact weight I want to be today, but I guess we didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to get where we want to be overnight. So that's kind of my frustrations.
I think that's important. Yeah, I try to tell women that all the time. Like, you didn't gain all this weight overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. We didn't get, here overnight. You can't start out lifting this heavy, I mean, it is a journey, and you have to know that you're going to be, doing this for the rest of your life. So you have plenty of time to do all of those things. I think that's really important.
And I think like some of the frustration, like I think it's frustrating to me personally, just when I do things wrong, because I want to do them exactly right. I want to do all the exercises how I should be, but sometimes, I'd be doing something funky and you're like, what is that? That's frustrating from me to me, that's like my own frustration.
But you take correction very well though.
Yeah.
And then, you're on it. I mean, and then you do whatever I've asked you to do, and then you move on. And you have really good form and everything. I mean, you've done extremely well. So,
Well, I almost had like is it the stick or the pole with the hinges? I almost had to.
You almost, yes, you did, but you do great on your hip hinges now. And you're doing it heavy on your hip hinges too. I think you use 35s on your hip hinges too, which is 70 pounds total. So, I mean, that's a good hip hinge. So, yeah. So, what's one thing that you've learned that you wish you would have known starting out?
I think it's that, like, I could be strong, like, and that I could have muscle definition. Like I think I have a long ways to go, of course, but like I probably worked out before, in college and after that, but I never ever had the muscle definition. So I think that's kind of neat that I'm like, okay, I'm 55 and I can still have muscle definition.
I think that's awesome. You're definitely doing a lot of things that, a lot of women your age don't believe that they can do. And I think that's great. And I think a couple of women have asked how old you are because of all the things that you can do. And people see you on the screen too. And of course, people can't tell how old you are on the screen. And they're like, who is that lady that's always there? That's always like kicking butt. So, and they can't tell how old you are on there. So they just know you're always there doing really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And hard things. So, so how has losing weight changed the way you feel physically and mentally?
I think I just like feel better about myself overall. I think it just naturally gives you more confidence as you get leaner or more toward the goal that you want to be at. And even, I think even if it didn't show on the outside, I think on the inside, I know that I'm doing what I need to do to be like the best me that I can be. So even if you can't always see the results on the outside, in my mind, I know, I've got this part of it, I've got this. So that's good for me.
That's awesome. So we haven't talked a lot about food. So, what is your favorite healthy food?
I guess I've always tried to eat healthy. Like I haven't had soda in probably like 20 years, and I don't eat fried foods, and I try to go light on the sweets. I don't wouldn't eat a lot of carbs before, but I guess I really love seafood, like scallops and shrimp and tuna. And one thing that I probably had never tried before until like I came to Amy's gym was like Brussels sprouts, and I love them. And the funny thing is some of the things I fix, like those tuna patties that was in your handout when I first started, like I make those all the time. Like I'm almost having one like every day, but my child who's like 21 and in college, when he comes over, he's like, oh yeah, can we have some of that? Like he loves it, and he loves the Brussels sprouts. So some of the things, that he eats are healthy too.
That's great. I think it's great whenever we can get our kids to eat stuff like that too, especially kids that are your age. You think it's usually the younger kids that's hard, but a lot of times it's the teenagers and the college kids that it's hard to get to eat things like that.
Right. Because they have so many like fast food choices that are
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Do you think it was harder for you to learn to eat that much protein? Do you think that's what you struggle with the most? And you really didn't struggle with not eating like junk food per se, but I think
No.
like learning like what was actually healthy, what portions you were supposed to eat, how much protein. Do you think that was really what was most important for your transformation, like for you losing weight?
Yeah, because I think when I first came in my mind, like sometimes I would just eat like a can of tuna, 2 cans of tuna in a day, and that would be like my whole meal for the whole day. So in my mind, when I first came in, and like, it was here's how much protein, here is how many carbs and fats. I was like, oh my gosh, it was a lot of food to me because I had starved myself, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, even eating like low, I don't know what it was, low calorie, low carb, probably just not enough of the right foods. So that was probably my challenge, is to go from going, okay, I'm going to eat this much, which is not good for your body. It's not good for anything. And then to go to eating this much and then still losing the weight, or
Right.
losing more weight.
Yeah, because it's really how many calories you have over consecutive amount of time, over a week's period, not over just a day. And a lot of people have trouble understanding that. And I think a lot of women in not just your generation, but your generation and then going down into my generation, but especially yours, like they don't understand like how much protein they're supposed to intake, or how much food they're supposed to intake. And they just think, well, I just need to eat a very little amount of food because that's how I'm going to lose weight. And even, if I say, well, you need to eat more protein, like, and they're like, well, I eat an egg for breakfast. And I'm like, you can't, well, that an egg is not enough, And so I think, that's one of the hardest things, because you weren't, in your head, you weren't eating that unhealthy. So I think that was a big change for you, but you've done really well with it.
And I still think it's still kind of, sometimes it'll surprise me because I feel like I eat a lot and I still lose weight. So I'm just not hungry, so that's still kind of, every now and then I'm like, oh, okay, it does work.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. And you eat a ton of food. So, but all the women that come in, I'm like, if you eat your healthy food, if you eat all your healthy food, you will lose weight. And that's really what it does work.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, and and I think another thing's it's important to be said, though, nothing's wrong with your metabolism just because you're older. Nothing's wrong with, I mean, everything. It's just amazing. So, what is your least favorite healthy food to eat?
I'm not really sure I have a least favorite healthy food.
She likes all of them.
I like most of them that I've tried. Like sometimes I think that maybe the ground turkey is not real high on my list. But if I make something like stuffed peppers, it's okay, and something like that. But there's not a whole lot of food that I don't like.
A lot of people don't have a hard time with ground turkey at first.
Yeah. I think if I mix it in and put the spices in with it and, put it in the pepper, better, and maybe, yeah. But eating probably like a ground turkey burger might not be my choice.
Yeah, I can see that. It takes some getting used to that. So what's your favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat meal is the baked goat cheese at Carson's.
At Carson's. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, I know it doesn't sound good and everybody's like, oh, and then they try it and they go, oh my gosh, that is like the best food in the world. Yeah, it's an appetizer. So when we go to Carson's, we always get it and it's served with these like sourdough breads. So it's kind of my favorite cheat meal. Because my son, like Lyle and I have talked about this in our nutrition when we have our meetings on Saturday, but like my son will come over and he's like, hey, let's go out and eat, or let's go to Carson's, or let's go to BJ. So probably eat out with him more than I would like to. And Lyle's like, well, why don't you like just cook a meal with him and, just sit and talk and not eat out, which, he's always in a rush, not to, but more of his social life. So he's kind of running from here to there. And don't really feel like he would stick around to cook a meal,
Right.
So I do eat out more with him than I would if I was just by myself.
Right. Do
But I
you,
try to like get a good meal. Like if we go out and we get an appetizer, I'll eat some of that, but then I try to eat a healthy like chicken or something that I think is healthy.
right.
Stuff that can be at a restaurant.
Yeah. Do you meal prep your food at the beginning of the week, or do you cook your meals?
Like I will cook some things like those tuna patties that I like to eat. I'll cook like maybe 4 of those at a time. And I like to like cut up my vegetables, or maybe put my like fruit in like serving containers so I can just go grab it. But if I eat a lot of seafood, I'll just try to cook that as I eat it, because I don't want to cook it for like 4 days because I like it to be fresh. But I definitely like try to make sure, like in my mind, my meal prep is making sure I have things in the refrigerator that I can eat and things that I can grab like fast. Like if I want to like a snack or something, I can grab some like raspberries or something like that I feel kind of like satisfy a sweet tooth, but it's not like I go grab a Reese cup or something like that. So
Yeah.
my meal prep is to make sure that it's all there, and I'm at home still. So it's easy to make my lunch or my dinner.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things, just have everything planned. And we have all of our vegetables cut up here too. We buy everything and then cut up everything, and then all the fruit's ready. And I think that's one of the most time consuming things anyway, is just having all that stuff ready. And so that way we can have cook dinner really quickly. So, which is one of the things that takes the longest. So, have you, I don't know about this, but have you ever considered yourself an emotional eater?
I would say no, not really. Like sometimes I feel like I have cravings for things like something chocolate, but it seems like the longer I'm on this plan and the longer I work out, the less I have those cravings, for whatever reason.
Well, that's awesome. I feel like the longer I've eaten healthy, the less cravings I have for things like that too. And I would just rather work out, and because I'm happy with the way that I look. I don't want anything to happen to that. That's usually the way I feel about it. But do you have a favorite exercise?
I do. I like the dead bugs. I think it's because I'm usually worn out,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like I don't feel like I have a whole lot of effort on the dead bugs, but it's like my time to rest.
Maybe I need to make those a little bit harder for you.
No. Like those. I'm like, when you say the dead bugs, I'm like,
I'll have to make those. You'll have to get you some leg weights or something when you start using some dumbbells. I'm gonna keep that in mind. You probably shouldn't have told me that.
I thought that when I was writing this out, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't.
What's your least favorite exercise?
Well, it has to be the lunges. Like I'm not sure if it's the forward or the back lunges, maybe both of them, but, and I, like, when I'm doing them, it's okay, but just the thought of doing them, and when you say we're gonna do forward lunges, I'm like, oh my gosh, but, I don't know why either, but, I mean, I don't know. But they are
Lunges are hard.
yeah, they are hard, and I usually do them with like 20-pound weights.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you're like hardcore. That's why you don't like them. So,
And on the Tabatas, I have to say I hate the high knees. And it's so crazy because I'm like, I don't know why, but the high knees are like, seems like it takes the most out of me.
yeah, they're pretty hardcore too. So
Yeah.
I can see that. So, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What, so what is your next goal? How much more weight do you want to lose?
I'll lose about 10 pounds. And I guess for me, like I know I will lose the 10 pounds, but I guess my goal would be to maintain it because to me, I think I can always lose it. That part isn't hard for me, but to maintain it, I always feel like I'm like this, lose it and then I gain it and then I lose it and then I gain it. So that will be my goal is to maintain it. And then I want to like, my goal is to do like one push-up without hitting the ground first. Because I
We can
can't.
work on that.
Yeah, because I'm like, when I'm doing them, I'm like, I'll never be able to do a true push-up. But
Yes, you will. You'll be able to.
eventually.
So what is your biggest struggle you feel like with like food or exercise or anything?
I think probably like eating out is probably my biggest challenge, which you can eat out obviously and still lose weight, but like I would love to not eat out as much as I do. And I was like, my child is gone this week, so I'm like, great, this is a week that I'm not going to eat out. So last night, I had made some plans with some of my family. So we went out and ate, and then my aunt and I went shopping today and we went out and ate. But I got like healthy meals, but still I'm like, I try not to eat out, but it's a struggle.
It is difficult, especially when you're with people or you have people in or you're around people. But I mean, there are some healthy choices you can make. But
Yeah. And but sometimes like even like I was telling Lyle the other day, I was watching this podcast and it was talking about a fast food restaurant, which I think if I think of fast food restaurants, this one is the healthiest. This one comes to mind as the healthiest. And it was talking about the chemicals that they put in their chicken. And I was, oh, and I was like, and he had a bagel and they had put like antifungal in the bagel. And I was like, oh, they were like, if you knew what was in this stuff, you wouldn't eat it.
well, yeah, they do that. They make those podcasts, some of those, and then sometimes you have to think like, well, there's chemicals like in everything that we eat now. So it's kind of hard to differentiate. But I mean, if you can get grilled chicken and vegetables when you go out, I mean, that's really the best you can do. Or you can just try not to go out to eat if you're with but usually unfortunately, if you're with family or friends, usually they want to go eat.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just always something they want to, I mean, people, that's just what they gravitate to. If they're together, they want to eat. People don't ask me to do that anymore though.
To go eat when you're out?
They just don't, yeah. Not a lot. So maybe they'll stop. I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, has your weight loss affected your relationships?
I think like the most important like relationship I want it to affect is like with my son because like like I said, he's 21, he's healthy, he works out, he rock climbs, but I just want to be like a good example for him because it's easy to do that when you're 21. It's easy to be healthy, but as you get older, I just want him to see that like that's a priority in my life. So I hope that he would see that and go, when he's 35 or 40, that he'll go, oh, I need to keep this as a priority in my life. Hopefully he will learn from that.
Well, I definitely think the best way that they learn is by watching you and seeing what you do, you know, not by us telling them, they just watch, they see, and then, so I think that you're doing the right thing, and he'll eventually latch on, see
Yeah.
that. What advice would you give to those just starting to exercise and learn about nutrition?
I think like just sticking with it and knowing, like for me, it's like, it's not like just this point in my life, like I have had people go, okay, now that you've lost your weight, when are you gonna quit going to the gym? And I'm like,
I know.
what? I'm like, that to me, it just like, and I mean, like, are there times when I'm like, oh, I'm tired? Like, yeah, like sometimes I might work till 2 a.m. and then I get up at 5 a.m. and go to class. And I'm like, I guess there's just, to me, there's just no other option. There's like, and I just would say, if you stick with it, you'll see the results that you want to see. I guess, like, could I make excuses for not coming to class? I guess everybody could, but I'm like, it's just not in my genetic makeup to make excuses for that, I think, because I'm like, this is my goal. I want to lose weight. I want to be strong, and I know what I need to do to achieve that. So it just wouldn't make any sense for me to not come to class and go, well, I want to be strong, but I'm not coming to class, because I'm like, I know that that's what I need to do to become stronger. And like when I went out of town like a month ago, like I think I missed like 2 classes. One, I didn't feel good, and then the other was on a Saturday. And I mean, I missed coming to class, and I'm like, man, I can't believe I like missed coming to class this much, but I did.
Mhm.
So if you just stay with it, I mean, just don't give up on it.
Yes, I think that's perfect advice. And I think it's really important. Christy and I were talking about that too, just showing up, not giving up, and just realizing, how important you are and how important it is, for the long haul, and that, your body's important. I think it's people have become too comfortable with, our society being unhealthy. And like you said too, people asking you when you're going to stop working out because you're at your goal weight. People are asking, Christy, telling her that she doesn't need to lose any more weight. And I'm like, people are too comfortable, like, with our society, and it's kind of scary. So people like you and Christy are extremely motivational and extremely inspiring. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, because I think it's going to really inspire others, show them that they can also, do that.
I said, I'm going to keep working out until I get too old or Amy kicks me out.
Well, you won't ever be too old.
That's what I said. Does that age even exist? I don't think so.
No. So you can work out forever.
There you go.
So you'll be with me for a long time.
All right. That sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you for talking with me today.
Welcome. Thank you for everything you and Lyle do.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye, you too.